I think I moved around too much in my last video. I'm new to this, so my growth will have to coincide with the video releases that I put out. So I apologize for that if in any way it detracted from the message that I was trying to convey. Um, to lend a little more insight into my backstory, um, I think every person faces a lot of trials and tribulations throughout the course of their life, and one of the main aspects of life is to understand the errors of your ways and understand where you went wrong, and really try to capitalize, not capitalize necessarily, but understand and perceive what you did wrong and really grow from these experiences. In a personal respect, I've encountered so many difficulties that have led me to the person today. Now I can think back and I might want to regret some of these actions I took or some of the choices that I made, but if it wasn't for these actions and choices that I've encountered and made, then I wouldn't be who I am today. And so that's really in the realm of regret, which I don't think that it can possibly serve a lesson, but I don't think dwelling on past mistakes is going to instill any type of growth. I mean, you can observe and learn from where you went wrong with certain mistakes, but to dwell on these things is just counterproductive. I do believe that we have to learn from our mistakes because we're humans. We're all going to make mistakes. We're not perfect, and things happen. Life is an unpredictable series of events that we grow and learn from, and we have to nurture our choices. But along with nurturing the things that we choose to do, we have to understand that there's always a correct way to go from here. There's always a way that we can benefit from the things that we have done in the past. So dealing with this, I came from a pretty, I guess you could say normal. I don't like using that word. I don't like putting it in that context because what is normal? I came from, I guess, normal in the sense of a suburban middle-class family, although my outreach was kind of counter what I've grown up in. I spend more time in the urban areas. I think I really just, with having my religious background and that religious influence dictating things that I was doing, I think I really sought to not necessarily elevate out of that, but experience new things and take my experiences out of the realm of what my family was conveying to me was the correct path or the course of action to take. So I think every child not only tests their boundaries, but looks for a mode of expression that will instill meaning within their being. And in doing these things, I probably made a lot of mistakes looking back on these things, but the mistakes that I've made have contributed to the person that I am today. And now today I can sit back and look at the things that I've done wrong, not necessarily wrong, things that I could have handled better, situations that I could have taken more by maybe making a better choice within that situation. And so I know I'm not being specific here. Most recently, I mean, it's hard to deal with these things, and it's hard to say them on camera. I'm just finding out, but I guess we can use this as our own video diary, something, a keepsake to look back on and understand the mindset at a period in time and expand and grow on that. My most recent obstacle was addiction, and I know I'm broadcasting that to the whole YouTube community, but I think it's a mode of growth. It's a mode of expression for the individual to overcome and bypass certain obstacles. So I dealt with addiction from the time I was young, looking for an outlet to express myself in. And I think every child has a innate feeling to want to, or an innate desire to want to rebel against your parents. Wow, that didn't come out right. An innate desire to want to experience things outside of the fold that you're given as a child. So looking and seeking out this expression, I turned to substances, which I think in certain contexts they can be beneficial as far as ritualistic uses. If you just use them periodically and you use them for their intended, well, what's an intended purpose? If you use them to enhance your plane of existence and then use them to increase consciousness for a period, it can be instrumental in gaining a new and profound insight into nature. But the problem lies in the addictive nature of certain substances to make you want to keep coming back to them. Once you've achieved some state of nirvana, or you feel some state of ecstasy being forwarded to you through these substances, that's all well and good, but you have to intake that and internalize and realize the message outside of the substance and carry that with you outside of the substance. Where I fell, as far as my comprehension of that, what I just espoused, where I fell in that as I continued to abuse these substances, and the only way that I could attain this feeling was through the substances. I didn't try to extract any of this knowledge that I had gained or any of the insights into nature, these heightened planes that certainly can be given to you within these substances. I didn't try to take that and exercise that power outside of the substance. And after so much abuse, I became dependent on these substances to have to feel normal. I had to have these substances, and this accumulated over time, and I didn't notice it. I mean, it was a systemic thing where I could have recognized it at any path, but I don't think, I think there's numerous issues. The frontal lobe hasn't developed. I mean, I'm not trying to deflect my actions. Ultimately, the responsibility rests with me, as I'm the one that made these choices and did these things. But you have to, I became so enthralled in these substances that I didn't know a world outside of these things, and I began to limit my whole existence. It's like I was caged inside of these substances, just screaming for help after a certain point. And this snowballed and snowballed, and this effect carried over. It damaged my relationships in life with my family, with my friends. I mean, I'm only 22 years old, and I feel like I've lived an entire existence, multiple existences within this one single incarnate. So now for the last 10 months, I believe it is now, I've been without any substances. I mean, I've set certain goals, and I've attained a lot of things just by being free of the substance, but I feel like I've only regained but a fraction of what I had in me at one time. So it's constantly trying to regenerate the self, and it's constantly trying to seek out what I almost had at one point. And so, I mean, speaking of regret earlier in this excerpt, it's like, should I have even experienced, or should I even have delved into these things, these substances that ultimately gave way to a destructive, a system of destruction that's still, I'm still trying to rebuild from today. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I don't think I'd trade my experiences, but if I could go back, I would have done them differently. However, we have to make do with what we have now in the present. And today I'm on a spiritual journey. I'm trying to evoke my spirit once again and rebuild the self, so I can try to attain a higher truth and a higher manifestation of the self that I feel that I was on the course of having at one time. They say you can only have one real epiphany. Well, I don't necessarily. I agree with that to a sense, where I've had pure moments of just unabated clarity on issues, and just perspective in general, where I was just like, yes, I get it. I finally get it. And that could have been cultivated to demonstrate a much greater awareness and just a feeling of camaraderie, and I could have just exercised these things and let them blossom outside of the substance, but I didn't. I stuck within the substance, which really was a butterfly effect, and it just caused this downward spiral that really just destroyed a lot of the things I have. So a lot of the things I had, and I'm starting to rebuild and have again. So I mean, to regenerate the self, it's an arduous process, and I don't know if it will ever come to me fully, but I have faith and I have hope that through the means that I'm utilizing at the moment, that the things that I have sought, the energy that I channeled into drug use and tried to, I believe it was all for a purpose, all to attain something greater that I wasn't getting out of life. But that's more of a reflection of self than it was from any external things going on. It was internal chaos, and now I have to deal with that internal chaos and really find myself within all of this and try to just rebuild, as I keep saying. So today I feel great about my current incarnation, and I know there's a lot of work that has to be put in order to define, understand, and try to build upon what I had at one time. And even today, I feel like as a human being, I'm experiencing so much growth, but there's so much that I decayed, into so much of myself that was decayed by abusing these substances. So today, it's more of a journey of self. It's a mode of internal reflection in order to correlate my purpose with the purpose of humanity, and to lay all the substances and the crutches aside to stand on my own and really let my heart guide me and my intuition and follow the path that was ordained for each of us.